Hello, guys. Hello, and welcome to another interesting episode of the Football Fan Zone. It's been another weekend of EPL action, and we're here to, break it down, sink our teeth into it. And before we get into all that, it's time for me to introduce our guests, our usual guests. So we have Uzo joining us again this week. Hi, Uzo. How you doing? How's your weekend been?
I've had better weekends, but we move.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you have. We also have Adams here with us. Adams, how you doing?
Bro, I can't even put into words, man. Just opposite of how Uzo feels right now. Just
You're feeling on top of
really
the world.
excited today. No, not on
That,
top of the world, but I feel good.
okay, all right. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm also feeling good as well. Yeah, and good weekend for Liverpool. Okay, all right. Before we talk, let's start off with the big game from the weekend. Manchester City versus Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. It was an interesting, enthralling, captivating, fantastic, interesting encounter. It finished 4 goals apiece. Was an interesting game, end to end, good football, box to box, very, very gritty, tackles flying in, yellow cards. It had everything of a Premier League game, that you expect from two good teams. Treble winners, Manchester City from last season, and kind of like rebuilding Chelsea. Trying to get themselves up into the rhythm of the season. So let me start with the ecstatic. Oh no, let's say ecstatic. Maybe that's with the happy
Over the
Chelsea
top.
fan.
Yeah.
So let's get his thoughts on the overall picture of the game. What did he make of it? And yeah, Adams, go.
Yeah, it's just the whole context of that game. City since 2021 when we won Champions League, we've not even competed against them. Like it's always been very easy. Like I go into that game almost knowing that it's a loss, right? And they just come in and play like we never get close to them. You know, I don't think we've even scored a goal. The last goal we scored against City was Kai Havertz. That's how poor
Yeah,
it's been.
wow.
Like it's been too easy for them. I know they've not like properly beaten us. Maybe like I think they have. They might have beaten us like maybe 3-0 or 4-0. But so to see that performance today against City, it was exciting, it was refreshing. Um because we went toe to toe with them, like you said. We didn't just sit back and try to defend and absorb pressure. We also, showed our threats. We attacked too, and we had chances, and we converted our chances. Seeing a Chelsea team score 4 goals twice in a week. I mean, I don't think the last time I saw that it's been a long time. Nobody would have said that like a couple of weeks ago that Chelsea would score 4 against City or 4 against Spurs. So it was a very good game for neutrals. Like for neutrals, it was also a exciting Premier League game. Of course, it's still a point, right? But if there's something like a point and a half or something, I don't know what that would be, but like it's a very good point because of how we performed, right? How we performed in the context of how big City is and this fixture over the past couple of seasons for
Season,
us has
yeah.
been very good, and how our season has panned out so far. And seeing what we saw, seeing our team get exciting again, our forwards scoring goals. It's been a while, you've seen the Chelsea side do things like this. So it was a very, very good game for us.
Yeah. It was a very good game as well for we the neutrals. It was
Yeah.
nice to watch, and we enjoyed every minute of it. Okay, so coming to you, Uzo. Before we talk about Chelsea from the Manchester City point of view, I think I saw somewhere like where they said this is first Pep Guardiola's first time as a manager in over like 800 games that he has managed, that his team has scored 4 goals and conceded 4 goals. So for Man City, where do you think, looking at them, I'm sure maybe analyzing the game like afterwards, where do you think they will say, oh, it went wrong for them that they threw the lead they had twice in the game?
Yeah. I just wanted to echo both of you guys' sentiments. Obviously, I think that was one of those proper Premier League games. Instant classic, throwback to kind of some of the games that we used to just absolutely love growing up. Very end to end, very open, very positive from both teams. A little bit of dodgy officiating. You can't have a classic without the officials getting involved because they
Yeah.
like to be seen. You want to make sure that when you're looking back on the tape, they're there too. Like me, if I did here. So Anthony Taylor had to make himself known. So
Yeah.
it was an exciting, fantastic game to watch, especially from even like my perspective as a Tottenham fan. Like I didn't really care who won because City losing or dropping points would be nice to stay, kind of close to the top of the table. Chelsea losing or dropping points, obviously, I always love for Chelsea to lose or drop points. So it was one of those games where I truly just was watching as a complete neutral and just excited to see the game. And it didn't disappoint. That has to be said. From a City perspective, I think that where Pep will be probably very, 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 very disappointed and upset. If we know him to be the manager that we think he is, and we've observed kind of like his standards over the last few years, is he doesn't tolerate when his team loses control of a game, and I think that they absolutely lost control of that game from minute one. I think that they, similar to us, in the way that we performed against Chelsea, we came in with the expectation that they would play a certain way, and maybe like a few minutes into the game, we realized that, oh no, they're up for it. They're here. They're going to be in your face. They're going to. Sorry, Siri is going crazy. But they're going to be in your face. They're going to try to. They're going to try to win the ball up the pitch and turn you over. And I don't think City was prepared for that. I don't think we were prepared for that. And I think you could see it kind of in the way that they were performing. Like they were tentative. They kind of seemed like they wanted to just weather the storm in the first half, and that's how the game kind of got out of control. One thing about Pep is, as much of a positive modern manager he has, like as people claim for him to be, he has always been the type to want to control a game versus let it just get out of hand and outscore the opponent. Like he's always been about, I'll take the sting out of the game, take all of your initiative out of the game, and then I'll pick my spots, I'll attack you, and then once I attack you and I get a lead of some sort, I'll completely kill off all of your drive and your ambition in the game. And twice City had the lead in this game, and well, I think they had the lead at 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3-2.
And then they had the lead at 4-3.
4-3.
Yeah.
They also had the lead at 1-0. So
Yep.
3 times they had the lead in this game.
1-0.
And all 3 times they capitulated within seconds. All 3 times they lost the lead in probably less than 10 minutes. That's not something that you would see from a Guardiola side, especially with their entire spine of the team not, being in the side. You had Diaz, you had Rodri, you had
Roger.
Bernardo Silva, you have all of the he even brought on Grealish and took off Doku as expected because he wanted more control, he wanted more ball retention, and he wanted to kind of take the sting out of the game, and they weren't able to do that. And that's not something that you see from a Pep side, and that's not something you see from those characters that were on the pitch. So that's a massive credit to Chelsea and Pochettino for setting up the right way and getting them out of character, getting them out of their comfort zone. And you could tell like they were probably in the end on the balance of play, they were probably lucky to get out with just 1 point, because I think that at points in that game, like Chelsea probably looked the more likely team to go on and win this game, because every time they went forward, every time they had a spell of possession, it looked like, oh, they're going to get something out of this. They're going to, like Chelsea, City were on the back foot almost the entirety of the game. They just looked so uncomfortable. So it's massive credit to Poch and Chelsea, but I know Pep is going to be steaming at this performance.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, I agree with you. It was sort of a surprising kind of like a performance from City. Okay, back to the Chelsea perspective, Adams. So if you were to pick your personal man of the match from your own point of view for Chelsea, who would it be? I think it's an obvious choice.
Yeah, I think definitely Raheem Sterling and Palmer played very well, but based on how underrated Conor Gallagher has been all season, personally for me, I was just amazed. He keeps surprises, like he's always surprising me. He raises the level every time he plays. And there's a lot of talk about, oh, Romeo Lavia is coming back. Who is going to get out of the team? Is it Gallagher? It's time for Gallagher to go. But I think people might be in for a shock. Gallagher, I just look back to the game against Arsenal, the game against Spurs, now the game against City. And these are high caliber midfielders. Like, these are world class midfielders. And you would say that he ended that game the better player in midfield against all three of those oppositions. So personally for me, I would say Gallagher. I know Raheem Sterling and Palmer did the business, got the goals and did very well. But personally for me, I was looking at Gallagher and I was really impressed by, how well, and he shifted positions a couple times. He played further forward. At times he had to move back a little. And all the times that he played, I think he played a little bit on the left as well. He played really well. Without him, I don't think Raheem Sterling and Palmer would have gotten into, their stride. So I'll say Connor for sure.
That was surprising. I was thinking you were going to go with Cole Palmer, but yeah, Conor Gallagher is also a good option.
Everybody knows how much, my newfound love for Palmer, but Connor has this one.
Yeah, generational talent. I just want to say the generational talent.
But I'm about to say something about Palmer, but I don't want to be too forward, right? I don't want to be too forward. I hope I don't jinx it.
It's a safe space. Go ahead. It's a safe space.
But listen, man. Listen, I've only felt this way. I've only felt the way I feel about when I watch Palmer play, when I saw N'Golo Kante and Eden Hazard. Those are really big names.
I knew you were going to say Hazard.
Yeah, those are massive names. He's nowhere close to those guys, don't get me wrong. But the first time I saw Kante play, of course he played at Leicester, but for Chelsea, as a Chelsea player, I went, wow, oh my God, I think we have one here. And the same for Hazard. And Cole Palmer, I'll give him to the end of the season, but it's looking like we might have a gem here. Like, his calmness on the ball is ridiculous. In half spaces, the positions that he finds, he's so fluid. I don't think he plays like he's one of those players like you can't confine him to a position. Like, he's just everywhere and on the ball. Like, he just has this maneuver. He has this know-how to get past you, really slick. This was who I thought Kai Havertz was. I thought Kai Havertz was Palmer, watching the highlights or the comps from Bayern Leverkusen, but this guy is just ridiculous, man. He's ridiculous. Nothing phases him. Look at that penalty at 95th minute against his former team. He was just incredibly calm. Bro, like that brother right there, he's destined for great things, but I just want to keep it calm for now. Let's see what happens at the end of the season.
So you don't talk him up and then everybody say, Hazard, what's happening?
If keeping it calm is comparing him to Hazard and Kante, then wow, I don't want to know when. I don't want to know when you're no more keeping it calm. I'm scared.
I didn't compare him.
No, you didn't compare him.
I'm just saying, like, what I felt when I saw Eden for the first time and when I saw Kante for the first time. It feels like, I know, I don't want to say, he just has
a high ceiling,
something about him, and we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. All right, a good one for Chelsea. And just my final thought on Chelsea. I think Chelsea they're gonna come good this season. Romeo Lavia is still gonna come back. Christopher Nkunku is also coming in.
Bro, I can't wait.
Like, those are quality players that
on the bench that hasn't even been unleashed.
You
saw what Armando Broja did for, like,
bro, that's another very crazy guy. So Chelsea is like just looks like it's all coming together for them.
James is also getting back into full fitness. It's just, it's exciting, man. It's exciting.
It's absolutely exciting. The future is exciting for Chelsea fans. All right, okay. Let's quickly turn our attention now to Tottenham Hotspur. It's been disastrous week for Tottenham.
I think
disastrous is the right word. So coming off the back
of, it's that bad. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Before you come in, so I was just going to say, so coming off the defeat to Chelsea at home 4-1, and then losing yesterday to Wolves in that kind of manner. That's disappointing manner, when they thought they had the game, only for them 2 goals to be scored in additional time. So and with the injuries as well to key players, and so it's not been a very great week for Tottenham. But Uzo, so let's get your take. What happened? Where did it all go wrong this week for Tottenham?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is, at least on this show, like we've all been very level-headed and context-filled in our arguments. So I don't think on some shows, like if you're a Spurs fan now, people will be dunking on you or laughing at you or something. But on this show, I've been very consistent from the start that our undoing is the size of the squad, and we all know this is Premier League. Like, unless you're a new fan, you're not getting through a season with your starting 11 staying fit, staying healthy for all 38 games. It just doesn't happen. You're not getting through the season with your starting 11, not getting suspensions, or not finding dip in form. So this is to be expected. The reason why teams like City and Liverpool have challenged in the past is because they've been able to rely on the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th guy when they come in, and they're able to do a job, they're able to perform. Um, we are ultimately in a transition phase, and so we don't have the squad, even though we kind of have the 11. I say we're probably still 2 or 3 players away from even an ideal starting 11, in my opinion, but we have a good enough 11 to compete at the top of the table. But it was very obvious that, like, at some point, if we're tested to utilize the rest of the squad and try to be more robust, it wouldn't happen. Unfortunately, it came against a fixture that I've always thought is like very cursed for us. Like, if you look back, whenever Tottenham are on the brink of doing something, and we come up against these two teams, every time we come up against Chelsea or West Ham, things go terribly south.
Chelsea
And it just
always.
turned out to be one of those games from minute like 15 onwards. It was just catastrophe after the other. And I'm not so much bothered about the results. Even the loss to Chelsea and the loss to Wolves, on the balance of the season and what we're hoping to accomplish, aren't devastating. Not necessarily, right? They're not. It's not the worst thing in the world to drop 2 games. We send City go on a 3-game losing streak, lose to Wolves and Arsenal, who are direct rivals, and then they bounce back and they're at the top of the table. We've seen Liverpool drop points at Luton, get robbed against Spurs, and they bounce back. They're second in the table. So it's not the worst thing in the world to drop points, even to unsuspecting opposition. But what is devastating and what is disastrous is when the entire spine of your team gets gutted in one game due to suspensions and injuries and whatever, like a combination of both. And it's especially worse when it's a team like Tottenham that doesn't have the depth, that isn't prepared for this kind of scenario, and cannot afford to replace any of these guys with like for like replacements. We don't have a Van de Ven in the entire squad. We don't have a Madison in the entire squad. We don't have a Romero in the entire squad. We certainly don't have an Udogie in the entire squad. So when you lose all four, it's like you're not replacing them with like maybe a lesser version and with the right profile. You're replacing them with a completely different profile who's just there to survive. Like, the guys that are coming in are there hoping not to make mistakes, hoping not to get noticed. You know what I mean? So it's hard to play a positive, front foot style, try to get on the ball when you have a whole bunch of players who would rather hide from the ball or are limited in their on-ball physical activity ability. So I wasn't surprised at the Wolves' performance. I did think we would probably scam a win because I saw Pedro Neto is not available. Maybe they're going to be a bit toothless in front of goal. We all know Wolves; they're known to purr and not bite. And for a large portion of that game, for 90 minutes, they purred and they purred and they didn't bite. But it, it's Premier League. It only takes 2 chances, and they got those. That was a class finish by Sarabia, by the way. Like,
Whoa,
that
yeah.
was like, it's one of those where I was like, listen, if he's that good and he can do that, then they deserve it. And honestly, on the balance of the game, they deserved their 3 points. They were
Yeah.
rightful winners. We were
Mhm.
going to try to rob and scam them and run away with it. And they told us, hey, come back here. Come back here. Give me give me that thing that's in your hand. And I wasn't disappointed with the result at all. I think it was very fair. They outplayed us. They played us off the park. Um, and the real question for me as a Spurs fan, and if anyone's asking me, I don't have an answer. I'm waiting to see the answer as well, is where do we go from here in terms of what does the manager do? How do we set up? What is his approach? What does he prioritize? Getting these players that are clearly not suited for this system playing in the system, or does he go into protect mode and try to farm as many points as he can? And so that's always the question from all Premier League managers: is when are you going to abandon your ideals to survive? And I think Ange is in one of those moments right now. So I don't know the answer. I'm willing to bet that he'll keep trying. But it's like,
Of
when will
course.
enough be enough for him? That's kind of
Yeah.
the question, because we all know Premier League will break any manager. You think you face the challenge? This is the one. You lose two, three in a row. You see the level of toxicity. You see the level of vitriol that you face. It will break even. I didn't think Ten Hag was going to break that quick. 2 games in, he broke immediately. He went to a solid bring back McTominay, all of that stuff. He brought everybody back. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Ange is made of. We'll see, because the run is very, very nasty, and the soldiers are very thin. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how he comes out of it, but it's not looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, man,
Pizu, Pizu,
sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
on, Adams. Yeah.
I was going to say, I wanted to address something. I just wanted to ask Uzo. This is going back to the Chelsea game. There's been a lot of talk about the way you guys play. And for parts of the game against Wolves, I saw you guys attempt to do it, but maybe because of the caliber of the players that you have, not being suited to that system of play. But what do you think from a Spurs as a Spurs fan? Do you think he should keep trying? Keep trying the high line like he did against Chelsea, or should he just try to adapt?
So next game we'll have Udogie back. Um, then in 2 games we'll have Romero back. So we also have a kid from the academy, Alfie Dorrington, who's pretty fast, and he's pretty positive on the ball. We kind of thought we would see him, um, but honestly, that game is hard to judge because we tried to play, but Wolves pegged us back, and Wolves have a lot of quality. They have probably some of the better ball playing center backs in the league, and his name is escaping me.
Yeah,
Uh,
Killman or something like that.
Yeah, Max
no,
Kilman.
man.
Killman
Yeah.
and Dawson.
Yeah, and they've got fullbacks that can possess the ball. So we got pegged back, but you could see he was trying. Also, during preseason, before we even got Van de Ven in the club, we were trying to play this style. So I think he's going to keep trying. The way that I see it is, I want him to die on his sword. You know what I mean? Like I cussed Ten Hag for abandoning his principles, and I said it wouldn't be sustainable because you can't teach something that you don't believe in. Like, if in your heart of hearts you don't believe that this is the way to play, you can't coach it. You can't truly prepare your team to play in a style that you know is not going to be sustainable. So I would like to see him continue. I don't think points are important for Spurs right now. I think, on the balance of the season, like, you look at the fact that we came in on the day before the transfer window closed, we lost the greatest player that's ever played for the club in recent history. We lost. Um, we didn't replace any in any way, shape, or form any of the 20, 25, 30 goals that he scores for us every season. Um, we had a squad that we knew was very thin. We needed 2 center backs. We didn't get them. So when you look at that, you're like, okay, where do you realistically expect Spurs to be at the end of the season? And it's that 6th to like 9th range, right? So from that perspective, I'm like, if we don't need the points right now, if the expectations aren't high right now, I'd rather see us take advantage of that and continue to try to really, really impart the style into the squad. Like, let's see it from top to bottom. Let the subs come in and try to do the same things, and let's expose who's cut out for the system at this level and who isn't. And then we can go continue to do business and see what we can get and continue to improve the squad that way. Yeah, the banter is going to be crazy. I get all that. Like, oh, they were top in October, they were top in November, and then they capitulated. But if we're being honest, if we're looking at context, then this is the time to put your style first before points. That's just the way that I see it, and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's that interesting. Yeah. Just one sneaky question for you, so before we move on from Tottenham. If you will you trade Ange Postecoglou for Mikel Arteta?
No, absolutely not. But I mean, but that's not fair. That's not fair to ask because, like, there's an Arsenal. Not only does Mikel coach Arsenal right now, he played for Arsenal. He captained Arsenal. Like, I would never, right? So, like, it's hard to really answer that question objectively. I wouldn't even think. I wouldn't blink. I don't care if he won 3 trebles in a row. I wouldn't blink.
Wow. Wow, interesting.
Just
But
like
would you?
I wouldn't trade any Spurs manager in the history
Well,
for
I was going
Arsene
to say,
Wenger. And Arsene Wenger is one of the greatest managers in the Premier League. But I would
would
never
you take
trade.
Poch
No
back?
way. Not after he coached Chelsea, especially like the fact
I
that
knew it
no.
Bro,
Well, the
two
thing
of
is,
my
we've had
coaches,
Chelsea
two of
managers
my coaches
before.
have coached you.
Right. It's one thing to have coached Chelsea and then coach us, because Tuchel's one of my favorite managers and I take him till this day. Right. But it's another thing to have coached us and then gone to Chelsea and then come to our ground and slap us 4-1 and kill off 5 of our players. You're not welcome back here. You're bad luck. He's bad JoJo. I don't want him. Nope.
All right, that's fine. No worries. I understand that. That's fine. Okay. All right. We wish Spurs the best of luck. Hopefully injuries and
I don't.
no, of course.
That's exactly what I expected.
Of course. All right. Okay. That's common for. I thought you would have just said, "Yeah, I wish them," even though your heart.
I have some sympathy for them. But obviously, like it's Spurs, so.
Chelsea have been through much worse this season, to be fair. Like, they've had way more injuries than probably, besides United, I think they've had the most injuries.
Nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah.
Like, nobody ever puts context like this.
Yeah, but things are.
I mean, I've been fair on Chelsea all season, so nobody can ever say,
you have stated the facts. And that's one of the reasons why, I'm approaching this way.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. All right, let's move on from Spurs. Let's move on to Liverpool. Liverpool had a good weekend. Apart from seeing their team win 3-0, we also saw our close rivals at the top of the table drop points. Tottenham dropping some points, Manchester City also dropping points some points. But in terms of the game today, it was a better performance, better than what we saw against Luton last week. It was a bit more of a controlled game. Going into the game, I was a bit more worried because Brentford are a very tricky team. I must say, I must give kudos to the Brentford coach, Thomas Frank, and some of the players. They are very dangerous players. Mbeumo, what a player on Mbeumo is like. Today, even at 0-0, he was a threat. Anytime they just lump the ball forward, Brentford, Mbeumo just running at your defense. It's a scary sight. And he has very good ball control. So yeah, fair play to Brentford. Came into the game with a 5-3-2 formation. They clearly knew what they wanted to do, frustrate Liverpool, and then hit Liverpool on the break. At some point in the game, there was a bit of frustration was beginning to come in, but before the goal came in for Liverpool, it was a solid performance from Brentford. But from Liverpool's point of view, yeah, it was good. Nunez back to some semblance of good play from him that we've seen in some parts of the season. As Liverpool fans, we want to see that more consistently from him as well. But yeah, Salah, the Egyptian king, just normal. He's always going to score at Anfield. 200 English goals now for him, like 200 goals in English football for him now. So, guys, he's up there. Like, is he the best African to have played in the Premier League? I would like to hear you guys' thoughts on that. I know there will be some disagreements. No, I said Africa. Is he the best African player to have played in the Premier League?
No, not close.
Not close.
Not
okay.
close.
That's clearly biased.
You know who the king is.
No, hold on. So let's Adam tell us
who the king is. You know who the king is. You know.
He's going to say that guy's name. The guy that won an entire season scoring 4 league goals. I beg.
He can only be one.
I beg. That's
I'm sure Adams knows that. He knows. He's just the Chelsea fan.
You guys know.
Salah is clear.
Like
he's clear at the top.
Yeah, it's clear at the top. Yeah. Like,
I'd say Salah is he's probably top 5 players to have played in the Premier League. Period.
Wow, top 5 players.
Well, maybe top 5 foreigners that's played in the Premier League.
No, I was going to go top 5.
Yeah,
I don't think he's
top 5. Like foreigners, like people that aren't like English born. I'd say besides like guys like Aguero and Thierry, I'm struggling to name names that will rival Salah's production in this league.
Definitely above Salah. I don't care how many goals he scores.
By what metric though?
Bro, Hazard is above Salah. Hazard is definitely above Salah in terms of
by what metric?
Bro,
I don't understand.
how many PL titles has Salah?
If you're gonna say league titles, that's irrelevant to individual.
Why? How is that irrelevant?
Because
you have
So if the argument that you say,
if you look at like No, if you look at a guy like Alan Shearer, right, who only won one league title, are you going to say like, oh, he's nowhere near top 5 players like
No.
in his position?
In his
He only
position,
won one
he
league
is.
title.
But like when you're comparing him to somebody else, like let's say you're comparing him to Aguero, bro, come on. Who would you pick?
No, you are comparing
Shearer
it.
has
No,
more
you can.
goals. Shearer has more goals, right? He has more goals than Aguero. So who's the better player?
That's a tricky one, though.
How is that?
That's a tricky one.
I don't think it's clear cut.
That's the easiest.
Shearer is one of the greatest strikers that has played in this league.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, but Shearer is one of the greatest strikers that's played in this league. Like, no one's
Shearer
taking that away
versus
from
Thierry
him.
Henry in the Premier League.
Yeah, Thierry is clear.
So why isn't Aguero clear?
Well, Thierry's clear of Aguero. That's why. Like, he is. Thierry's the greatest player that's played in this league, period. And he's an Arsenal player, so it's a lot for me to say that. You guys are not
consistent. Like, you're not consistent.
No,
with
Thierry is, in terms of production, in terms of winning, in terms of records, like he's easily the greatest player that's played in this league.
Who?
Thierry.
No, that's not true.
All right, guys.
It would be hard for you to find a name that rivals him in terms of.
First of all, I need to know the metric that you're using, right?
Adams, you know what? Adams, guys, you know what? I think we'll have this. Let's have this conversation next week. We'll have an international break next week. So I think what we'll do, we're going to discuss like top 10 greats in the Premier League. Let's we'll keep the discussion for next week. Yeah. So quickly on okay, so Liverpool won 3-0, good result. For the rest of the other teams, Arsenal, they were able to come from they won their game. Yeah, 3-1, but it was a bit tricky at some point. It was not straightforward. 3-1 against Burnley. I'm sure some Arsenal fans going into the game were thinking, oh, this is going to be like easy for like 4-0, 5-0, we'll be done. But at some point in the game, there was a bit of panic from Arsenal fans. But at the end of the day, they came through to win 3-1. Manchester United were able to overcome Luton Town as well, 1-0. I'm sure some fans would have expecting like a 2-0, 3-0 win, but Manchester United were able to just come away with a 1-0 win. Okay, so in terms of so Adams and Uzo, let's just touch on Arsenal and Manchester United, the games for those games yesterday. Let me start with you, Adams. So in terms of Arsenal and Man U, what do you want to say about the two teams?
I'd say Arsenal. First of all, they've had some injuries as well. Let's not forget Thomas Partey. I don't think we've seen the midfield three of Thomas Partey, Rice, and Odegaard too many times this season. Yeah, and that's like by far their best midfield combination. And also, Jesus obviously is out. So I think Arsenal begin to show their strengths in their squad. We talked about the squad is a little bit better now. Having Jorginho come in, I think Jorginho, bar the game against Chelsea and Spurs, since then I think he's been all right. I think he did well against Newcastle. It was just like a really physical game, and you know how Jorginho is not like the most physical guy. So I would say, because of that, we expect. I don't think you expect the same level of performance because they're missing some key players. And what Arsenal have been able to do this season, I think Uzo touched on it last week, is that they're finding new variations to their play. It's not all about pass, beautiful football. If you see two of the goals they scored, it was like set pieces. Like they're bringing that physicality into their game, which is good. But also, you also like to see them create more chances if they're going to challenge City. But it was a very good professional game. They did the business. 3 points is 3 points. They had Trossard. They had Trossard come in place of Nketiah and do the business. So they have different variations. I think their squad is actually better than we think it is. They have different variations. They can combine Nketiah with Martinelli and Salah. This time they had Trossard come on. Havertz is still the big question mark. But I'll say it would be too harsh on Arsenal to say that they didn't do well, because they did the business and they found other ways to win as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So Uzo, just quickly, just because of time, just touch on Manchester United. What did you make of their game yesterday? Their 1-0 win against Luton Town.
That was the one game I skipped this weekend. I wasn't going to watch Luton. They're not a real Premier League team. If I want to watch that, I just watch MLS.
That they might.
So are you saying, sorry, Adams, before you, sorry, I just want to ask you, so are you saying Luton Town are going down? Would you be
100%. I'll put my house rent on it.
I disagree. We're staying up. That's my other team this season. Luton is staying up. We're beating
Well, I
the
mean,
drop.
to be fair, you might want to be rooting for. You guys are pretty close to them right now. You might want to be rooting for them to be dropping.
That's bad, girl. But
we see.
okay,
We see them say this.
okay. So just
No. But seriously, I don't think they're a real Premier League. Like, come on, let's be for real. Like, you can't name anybody in their starting 11 besides Elijah and Nicolakpo, whatever his name is.
Elijah Adebayo.
Our Nigerian brother, but
But they
that's
have
not.
Ross Barkley, Andrew
That's
Townsend.
that's one of the worst teams I've seen in the Premier League in recent history.
Yeah.
If they don't go down, I'll be so sad because I want them to go down.
Wow.
I don't want to see such teams come. I'm seeing Ipswich at the top of Championship now.
Yeah.
God, please let them fall off. I don't want to see. I want to bring back the teams that would at least be able to scam, draws and wins against big teams. I don't. We played Luton and we played them with 10 men for not just halftime. We played. Bissouma got sent off at 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Played them with 10 men for the rest of the game. It was 0-0 when he got sent off. We won the game 1-0, and they probably generated like maybe an additional 0.5 xg for the rest of the game. It's just they're an absolutely awful team. I don't like watching them.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
It depends. It depends
Okay,
on
Adam,
what you
just
call,
quickly,
because
quickly, yeah.
I've seen Burnley play, I've seen Sheffield play. They're way better than, not way, but like they're better than, I think they're better than Burnley, and I think they're better than Sheffield.
Okay,
Of course, they don't have the resources that these other teams have. Like they,
their stadium, everything, bro. Get them out, bro. Just get them.
Okay,
get all three of them out. I agree with
just-
you. All three of them are absolutely awful. Get all three of them back down, bro.
Just to close out this discussion. So let me just ask both of you your three teams that will go down.
That's the
Adams,
three.
let me start with Adams. Your three.
That's the
Adams,
three. You got it.
I'm going Bournemouth, Sheffield,
Bournemouth?
and Burnley. Yeah, Bournemouth is going down.
Wow.
No
Trust
way.
me, Bournemouth.
Okay.
Did you see what Bournemouth did against Newcastle?
Bro, that's a Newcastle team that had,
Luton would liquidate their club if they did that. No way.
Bro, Luton don't play.
Chelsea fans hate Bournemouth. I don't know why. You guys have a weird thing with Bournemouth.
They don't play
because they always
football.
come to your stadium and do things.
Like, I'm tired of seeing that team that they escaped last season. They should have been gone last season too. I think this is their season. I think this is a season for sure because I feel like Luton, they will make it difficult for you to play against them. Like you'll be Liverpool, and if you go to their stadium,
Liverpool missed a bunch of chances.
It's not going to be easy for those teams going to the stadium. Like you'll be like the Stoke City of those years where
they're bad. They actually do not stop you doing anything. That game against Liverpool, I think, gave people a lot of hope because Liverpool missed point blank range chances. Like Nunez was on a madness. That's why they tied that game. Luton are not a good team. I think all three of those teams, Burnley, Sheffield, Luton, are all good. Burnley are a disgrace because I don't know what company is doing there. Did you watch the game against Arsenal? Like people were saying, there was no panic.
The United game.
There was no panic. They tied the game for 5 seconds, and Arsenal were like, come back. Every time they played a corner kick, literally the Burnley keeper was shaking. These are not Premier League teams. Get all three of them back down. That's just my own. That's my own.
All right,
let's
guys,
start afresh.
all right, guys. All right. Okay. So we're kind of running out of time. So we have a section of the show dedicated to talking about VAR, which Uzo is going to take us through. But before we get into that section, I just have some few questions I would like to ask our guest today. My quiz section before we move on to the VAR section. So this week I've kind of like decided to go through another route in terms of my quiz. I'm going to be asking you guys. I'm going to be giving you guys a list of clubs. And then from the list of clubs, you're going to decipher which player has played in those clubs. Like, so I'll give you a list of clubs and you're going to like decide which player has played in all those clubs. And then we go,
yeah.
good.
That's
good.
Man. That's test your ball knowledge there.
Yeah, I saw one quiz. I saw something similar with Daniel Story during the week. I was like, I like this. So I'm going to try it out. Okay. Should I do it each other or I just call the clubs and anybody that knows it? Okay, I'll just do it. I'll just throw it out there and then if you know it, you just give me. Okay, so I have a group of clubs here. I have Tottenham Hotspur, Liverpool, Stoke City, Portsmouth, and Aston Villa.
What? What type of mix is that? Portsmouth.
Hmm.
So you have to give us like.
Let me
Is
go
the
right
player
again.
still playing?
No, it's the player's retired now.
Oh, okay.
Is it Peter Crouch?
That's
Ooh.
correct. Peter
Ooh,
Crouch.
yeah.
Nice
Yeah,
one,
nice
Mr.
one,
Uzo.
nice
Nice
one,
one.
nice
Nice
one.
one, Mr. Uzo. Okay,
Yeah.
let's
Tottenham, Liverpool. Yeah.
Tottenham over here.
Yeah, Stoke
Portsmouth,
City,
Stoke
Portsmouth.
City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, let's move on to another player. So I have here with me Liverpool, Real Madrid, Newcastle United,
Owen, don't worry about it.
Michael Owen. That's correct. I think
That's a
that
good
was
one.
simple. Good one from Mr. Adams. So it's one apiece. Okay, so I have another. I think there's another simple one. So I have Chelsea, I have Tottenham, I have Olympic Marseille, and I have Arsenal.
Oh,
Gallas, William Gallas. Yeah.
Ah, very simple. Okay, I'll give you guys both the points. So two apiece. Okay, the tiebreaker then. I think this is another easy one. I have Tottenham again. I have Newcastle. I have Portsmouth, and I have Arsenal.
Campbell.
So Campbell. That was fun.
I wasn't gonna say his name because he who shall not be
I
named.
didn't even know he played. I can't remember he played. Did he play for Newcastle?
He played for Newcastle at some point.
That's interesting.
All right, guys. That's it from me. So I think Adams, you've won the
good
quiz
one.
again.
That's a good quiz, Pizu. You need to come up with more quizzes like that.
All right. Okay. So we'll get more of that in next week. Okay. So Adams, you won again this week. 3-2 score.
Woo!
Continue the winning streak against
getting my trophy at the end of the season.
All right, Uzo. So you want to take us through the VAR discussion?
Yeah. So just wanted to be able to touch on something more interactive from the audience. Right now, I think one of the more prominent conversations is VAR in general, but we wanted to ask kind of a more specific question, and I'm going to ask you two to give your thoughts, and then we're going to open it up to the audience as well, just to kind of see what other people think about this idea. Because I saw Jamie Carragher tweet after the United game against Copenhagen that he would like to see VAR get relegated to just checking for offsides and check in for goal line technology. So the automated offside check and the goal line technology. Now we've seen that VAR has been called in to check serious foul play and red card incidents, and also actions leading to a goal, the entire phase leading up to a goal, like fouls and handballs and stuff like that. People are saying that those two things are causing VAR to re-referee the game and take out all subjectiveness. So would you guys be open to seeing VAR get limited to only offside calls and goal line technology, things that are black and white and aren't open to interpretation?
You want to go first, Pizu?
Yeah, let me go first. I think I completely agree with that point from Jamie Carragher. I think VAR has just been like, it's just been like, oh, we have this technology, so let's like use it for all sorts. I think it should just be limited to offside decisions and then goal line technology, or as the ball like black and white actually, like, okay, is the ball out or not? Is it offside or is it not offside? Those subjective, like those red cards, those are reckless tackles, serious foul play. I think that should just be left with the decision of the referee, because something that makes VAR bad in those situations is there is this eagerness for them to pause or slow it down, and it actually
makes it worse.
Makes it look worse than it is. Like I don't like Manchester United. I was happy that they lost to Copenhagen, but I think that Rashford red card was, oh, come on, looking at it, slowing it down and freezing the frame makes it look worse, than
I don't think that's
was.
a red card though.
It wasn't. It's not a red card. It's not a red card. It's not a red card at all. And there's been some other decisions in the Champions League and in the Premier League, and you're like, I don't think it's a red card. I think there's one Celtic Atletico Madrid as well. That's just a normal, like, football is a contact sport. That's why those guys are athletes. they're being trained, So like that is not a red card call. So I think VAR has come in and it's kind of like, yeah, we're refereeing the game, looking at all those things, getting involved more than it shouldn't. When it comes to offside and goal line and all those things, yeah, definitely you look at it. Is it ball out? No, it's not out. Is it offside? That's where the referee needs help. But in terms of the other part of the game, just let the referee, ref the game. And there are sometimes that some of those serious foul play, the referee being on the pitch and the reaction of the players, there's a way the referee will be able to decide that this is not a red card or this is just a yellow card tackle. So I agree with Jimmy Carragher's point that VAR's use should be limited to just black and white decisions. We don't need all those red cards, then freezing the game, the play. I think there's the one on Curtis Jones against Tottenham. That's another one. It looks like rare, like a danger, but the ball rush rolls. When you slow it down and freeze it, like wow, it looks like a leg breaking tackle ball, which is not. So yeah, I agree with Jimmy Carragher's point.
Yeah, I also agree.
Adam,
I think, yeah, I also agree with it too. I think it stops the game. Like it takes a lot out of the game. We have to spend. I think that Spurs versus Chelsea game. I saw a funny stat. I think the ball was in play for 50 something.
47 minutes.
That's
47 minutes out of 110.
That's just uncalled for. But one thing I'll add is there's I think a degree of dangerous play, or would I say, yeah, you can call it dangerous play. Something, I know this is going to be very subjective, but they have to be black and white with it as well. Like maybe violence, yes, maybe something violent play, like maybe you grab somebody's neck or you hit someone or you do something outside of playing football, right? Like maybe you try to hit someone or you try to grab someone that the referee obviously can't see everything, maybe behind the referee. That can be called back. Like that's the only one. But you see the red card, the tackles, no. I don't think. I think that should be left to the referee. And the thing about VAR is, I don't think, no matter how we want to spin it, it's still going to be based on the interpretation of whoever is in the VAR room. So
yeah,
at the end of the day, I don't think, I know Cargill was saying, or get other people from outside England to officiate the VAR, but still, those people still have to interpret the rule, right? There are
yeah,
always going to be there are always going to be calls where we'll be like, oh, it's not, it is. It's never going to be clear cut,
clear,
right? It's
yeah,
never going to be clear cut. There will be some calls where you'll be like, I think the referee got it right, and there will be some calls where you think the referee got it wrong. But for things like offside, which you can hardly ever get it wrong, especially if you use the automated one.
yeah,
I think, yeah, and then goal line technology as well, which is the ball in or is the ball out. And I would like to add like violent conduct, like maybe hitting someone outside of play, like the Luis Suarez thing, for example, biting somebody's hand. Like you can't, that type of thing can be called back to the referee. And
But see, before VAR, those things used to get reviewed by the FA, and then they would have retroactive punishment.
no,
And I would like to see that come back, where if the FA reviews and deems that you committed violent conduct on the pitch, then you get a retroactive punishment. You get a ban. But I just don't like to see the game get stopped for he beats my arm. Oh, like get on with it. Like back in the day, like people just didn't see there were dark arts. There are players that are known for dark arts, and they've been praised for like he's known to unsettle opponents. Like I'm not saying that we should
no, that's different
go
from
around
violence
headbutting
though.
people, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's different from violent play. Like dark
yeah,
arts, like try pulling somebody back, doing those type of things. Those okay, right? But like
yeah.
violent play, like maybe grabbing somebody's neck or grabbing somebody by the hair, things like that. I feel like you said, maybe a retroactive decision can be reached, but things like that, I just feel
It's just
like
like that way the game just keeps, because one thing, Ange was even talking about this after our game against Wolves, because he was talking about the Chelsea game, about the 47 minutes thing. He was saying that he's almost like wanting to like have his players warm up during VAR checks, because like he thinks that VAR actually might have contributed to more injuries in the game as a whole, because there's so much. And if you've played sports, stopping and going is not good for athletes in general. You want to try to keep in a constant motion. So when you're having a 10, 15-minute check, because they're checking this phase, then they're checking the next phase, Like, look at the
Yeah.
Haaland goal today. Like, it's a perfectly good goal. They're checking handball while he's already in the goal.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
stop
ridiculous.
this rubbish.
Yeah,
Like, just stop it. Just get on with the game. And like now, players might start eating bananas and drinking Gatorade on the pitch because like you got to try to stay warm because when you try to start your body back up, now you're more susceptible to injuries. So yeah, I would like to see probably just maybe add like a coach's challenge where if something happens that's so bad, the coach can say, okay, I want to challenge this, and you get one
I
per
don't
game.
think we should have challenges though. That would be.
I would like. I mean, if you're gonna check ridiculous things, then just let it be a coach that decides to waste his challenge on checking if a handball happened inside of the goal. And that would be on
people.
to them.
People
but,
will start getting tactical with the like they do.
We don't want. Yeah, I think I agree with that.
I don't want the challenge. Like,
don't want that as well. Yeah,
that would even be worse than VAR. Let's not even go.
Even if it's
that.
one challenge a game, like each coach gets one challenge.
We don't want that. We don't want that. Then you like, oh, he's a good coach because he kept his challenge to the end of the game. He didn't use it for the first one.
We don't want that. We don't want that. I just like football. Just feel like recent more like in modern history, like the game has just been kind of like changing. Like just live the way the game was in like the olden time. Game was for no
like
more.
A friend of mine mentioned how like there's actually different rules now in Premier League than there is in Champions League, but we're playing the same sport.
Yeah,
like handball is interpreted differently. It's insane. How are the players expected to keep up with it? Just go back to just check the stuff that is objective because again, it's a piece of technology. Like you said, the person behind the VAR also has their own subjection. So while we already have one subjective person on the pitch to deal with subjective decisions, we don't need another person chiming in and saying, well, in my opinion, it's all like, no, just stick to the stuff that's objective and let the refs ref.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. I agree with that. All right. I think thanks, Uzo.
So opening this up to the audience as well. You guys chime in. Let us know. Are we out of bounds for thinking that VAR might be over refereeing the game? Do you want to see the institution of a coach's challenge? Do you want to see VAR check violent conduct? Like, let us know what you guys think about VAR so far. And yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Uzo. Yeah.
So back over to you.
Yeah. No worries, man. So just like Uzo said, just let us know what you think about the VAR and the subject around VAR. You could drop us a comment. We'd like to hear from you as well. We'd like to hear what you think about the subject VAR. Should we limit its use to less of subjective calls and more of black and white decisions? So yeah, let us just know what you think about VAR and its use. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of this week's episode. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Please do let us know what you think about our show. You could drop us a comment. We would like to hear from you. Let us know what you think we can improve, what subject we should discuss next, and all that kind of interesting stuff, And if you think you're also good enough to want to join the show, you can also let us know and we'll be willing to have you on the show. So thanks for watching another interesting episode of the Football Fan Zone, and we hope to have you back here next week. So take care, guys. Have a good week.